Like lay it out for me, like how? Like don't tell me what. They'll tell you like what you need, but nobody tells you like how do you do it. And so I had no idea, but it was the first time that I even had the vision in my mind that like I could and that I wanted to. And so I always say, like people ask and I say, Florida did that for me.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I have Brittany, aka BB, from BBDESIRE Glam. That's the name of her company. She's right here in Palm Beach County, and she is going to give us the game, not just on beauty and having a beauty bar, but also about her boutique that she has, because she does more than just the makeup, the lashes. She also has clothing. So we're going to get into it while I listen to it on my Seek 4D headphones, the first in the world. Thank you, Seek, for these headphones. Black-owned company, you guys, better than Beats. Brittany, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you so much. I'm well. I am well. I'm blessed. I can't complain. I hope you had a happy holiday.
Oh yeah, holidays always good, especially if you can have family around, which this was one of those times we were able to. So I was thankful given the craziness. How was your holiday?
It was good. It was a little rough. I lost a loved one due to COVID, so this was my first holiday without them. But you start to appreciate the things that you still have and not take things for granted so much. So good spirits over here. Definitely felt blessed to be around, love and people that love you back and things of that nature. So very good day. Can't complain.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, and sorry for the loss of the family member. And this is a real thing we're going through with COVID. So you guys mask up. Since you started with that, I was going to ask you somewhere down the line, how has COVID impacted your business? But how has COVID impacted your life?
Well, as I started, the person was actually my grandmother. So she was one of my favorite people in the world. So anyone who suffered loss of someone close to you, especially when it's unexpected, it's a hard scenario. I didn't just lose her to COVID. I actually watched her kind of go from bad to worse to no longer with us. And so it's a very hard process to watch. But I do think I was fortunate. A lot of people I've talked to who've lost someone due to COVID didn't get to see their loved ones before they passed. They didn't get to, make peace or say goodbye or even just be with them in their final moments. And I was blessed enough to have that opportunity. So in that sake, you just have to take the little victories where you can. But in general, on a larger scheme, I think not just personally, it's been tough. I'm not going to say it hasn't, even from the business aspect of the forced close downs. And of course, what I do is a beauty bar and a boutique. And so the boutique can run online. So that business is like, it's still feasible without having to see people, but the beauty bar is strictly a personal relationship with our clientele. And so not being able to be open and service or have that one-on-one or them come in definitely put that side of the business to a complete halt, which I think without needing to be said means there's definitely a large financial loss on that end, and definitely some setbacks. It also changes dynamic. I had to just hire a completely new team of people. And not that there were issues with old people. It's just everybody had to figure out how to best handle COVID and what we were dealt with for themselves. And for some people, they couldn't, afford to wait for businesses to be back open or for things of that nature. So it has definitely been a long journey, a challenge. But I think like anything in life, it's just one day at a time. And if you focus on bad, then I think that's what you feel like is the majority, and that's what continues to pour back into you. And if you choose to focus on the good, and then that's what you put out and that's what you'll receive. So that's just kind of my take and what I've been trying to do, focus on the good and focus on the positive.
So my listeners will say, wait, Kellen, you said, everything was open in Florida. So are you one of those businesses by choice? You just decided to like shut things down? And at what point did you say, you know what, we're going to just close up shop for now? Because coming from Seattle, I was like, wow, I was shocked how many things were open in Florida.
So we are open now. So I'm currently open. Um, but that is as of recently. I was one of the businesses who was closed due to the force mandate back in, I think that was like March, mid-March maybe. Um, and then they did do like a reopening. When was that? Maybe like June or July. And it was then by choice. I wasn't ready. I personally felt like it was still a lot of unknown. It was too soon. And I wasn't really ready to risk myself or clients. I didn't feel like I was best prepared yet to make sure that we're taking every possible precaution to protect those that work there and the people who trust us and come in to see us. And so I kind of just fell back. I was waiting to see like how the reaction was going to go. Were numbers going to skyrocket up once the businesses open back up? I had different colleagues and mentors in business who I wanted to see how things were going and reach out and see what their feedback was like, and kind of just get the different ideas and updates as they came out, even from like the health department or CDC updates on recommendations on what we can do to best protect ourselves and those in our community. And once I felt like I was at a place where I could confidently do that and know that we've taken all the precautions on our end that we can, then I was like, all right, well, you're either gonna continue to stay closed and potentially go out of business, or you're gonna, get back out there, deal with life, and just manage the things that I'm able to manage. I can't control everything, but the things that are able to be controllable, we just try to make sure that we're doing those things on our part.
And so, just so people understand, you have rent to pay, lights to pay, water and all that to pay.
None of that stuff.
Yeah. Was the government, because, a lot of folks think business owners just got bailed out and some even cashed out big time. And, it was great if you had a business. Did the government come in and do their part to help you? Because I know a lot of businesses, especially Black-owned businesses, that did not get any help.
Yeah, I do as well. I can say there was some assistance for my business with the SBA loans. I can tell you that it wasn't. It was like a month or two, maybe. If I stretch it, maybe I can say it was like 2 months, but not quite, of bills. So I don't want to make it seem like they rained down this this check that just was like I was throwing money or had it like that. But I mean, in times like these, even a month, especially for a small business, a month can make a difference in whether you can recuperate or not. Did they do their part? I can't really say I think that. I think there could have been a lot more done for small businesses in general. I think a lot of businesses that I don't know their finances, so I won't say they didn't need it, but I just think a lot of businesses that had well off more to be able to maintain through this period, I think they received a lot of dollars that could have been allocated back into small business owners and into communities that probably could have benefited more from the money. So I wasn't really a fan of how that all happened, but you take what you can get. And I know what I did get was a lot more than a lot of colleagues and people that I do know in business who, you're absolutely right, received absolutely nothing. And you're right, bills don't stop. Clients can't come in, but landlords still want their rent. People who own their places, you still got to pay mortgage, the lights, electric. And for some of us, like if you're trying to maintain staff that you have, you're trying to see if you can make a budget to keep paying them or to give them something to hold them over. So it's definitely a lot that went into it.
No, that's awesome. Now, how did you, start? Was it with the boutique first, or was it with the beauty bar? And what made you, really jump out there to say, I don't want to just work for somebody. I want to create. I want to be, an employer of people. When did that begin for you?
So I was in corporate for some years, and I didn't start wanting to be an employer for people. I started off with the mentality of I was miserable in my corporate position. I was the only person who was of my age, who was a woman, who was Black, who looked anything like me doing what I was doing. And I was making six figures doing it. And the money was great. It created a lifestyle for me that I grew accustomed to. But other than that, it was like I was a robot every day. I was in a world of either always having to come wrapped up, ready to fight this unspoken battle in the workplace. And it was a very hostile work environment. I was with all men of maybe like 50s and up, who made sure that their personal preferences of people was known. And so it was just a rough place to come in every day and fight the good fight. And honestly, I was just tired of that. And I was tired of having to report to someone. And I was tired of making so much money for someone else, and from the money that I'm contributing to their company, taking away pennies for myself. And then in return, having no life, giving up all my time, being on call almost 24/7. People had access to call me for work stuff whenever they wanted to. And it wasn't my work. It wasn't my passion. It was just literally a job that I was being paid to do. And so in the midst of that, prior to that, I had always been doing makeup since college, and just not on a serious level. I was just like, it was something I just kind of had a natural talent for. We would go to like dances or parties, and some of the friends would be like, hey, can you do my makeup? We're going out. Or people would hit me up and things like that. And it was just something I always loved. It never felt like work. It was just something I was always passionate about. I always was into my own makeup and things of that nature. So in my process of seeing how I was going to maneuver my way out of corporate life, I thought, well, if I want to take this seriously and I want to be taken seriously, what's my next step? And for me, that meant let's go, follow what you need to follow in Florida to become a legal professional. And for me, that was beauty school. To get licensed as an esthetician. And I figured if I want to do makeup professionally, I need to learn about skin and everybody's skin and their different skin types and what goes into it and how to best manage it. And I just wanted to take it super serious and learn everything I could. So that's what I did. I was going to work in the mornings, and when I got off, I was going to beauty school, and I would be there till late night, and then I would go home, sleep, and just repeat that cycle. And that went on for about 4 months. And I graduated from beauty school. And then I picked up a freelance job with one of the largest recognized beauty companies, MAC Cosmetics. And I was excited about it. It was an opportunity for me to have some real life experience, to learn from a company who has set many trends in the industry for decades. And it did just that for me. It put me out in front of people. It introduced me to other professionals in the beauty world. And it taught me a lot about business in the beauty industry in particular. And through that process, I shifted out of corporate and I shifted into that full time. And I went in knowing that it was going to be a large pay cut for me. It was going to be some very different lifestyle changes I was going to have to make. But I came to the point of, following passion versus just paying bills and doing everyday thing like a robot, like just living the same life every day. And so when I first got into it, it was just about me. It was strictly like, I hate this. Let me go find myself. Let me go find what I love. Let me dive into it. And I just want to work for myself, kind of thing. Working with clients and taking on taking on parts of like their interests and their life and what they're looking for is kind of what evolved everything for me. BBDESIRE Glam started out as me. And I used to be a radio personality in college, and my radio name was BBDESIRE. And so the glam, I just attached onto that as a makeup kind of aspect of things beauty. And so I just kind of made that my name. And then after working with clients, they would like ask me for different services, and people would tell me all the time, like, you know, any given week, women are carving out 5 appointments a week in 5 different places with 5 different professionals so that they can go get their hair done, their nails done, their makeup, they have a lash tech in all these different places. And they're like, you spend so many hours a week just trying to fit in these different appointments. And they're like, it's so inconvenient. It's one reason why people like the mall. They can go get all these different things in one location. And I thought, why don't we have a place like this where you can have top professionals at the top of their game in whatever they specialize in, whether it's lashes, makeup, nails, pedicures, microblading, permanent makeup, anything, but just have them all under one roof so that women can come in. They can just see all their favorite people in one spot, one day, get it all knocked out. And it's just so much more convenient. It can be a great, fun, safe atmosphere. They can get their clothes, their nails, their makeup, and then they can be on their way. And they don't, and it's one day, and it saves them so much time. So like everybody's busy, everybody has a full workload. And I thought, why are we complaining about it? Like, why don't I just make it? Like, why that can be BBDESIRE Glam? Like, and that's how that's literally how it came. I had no idea how I was gonna make it work. I had no idea what to even do when I first started out. I just had the vision and was like, yeah, that's a great idea. Like, we should do it. Like, I should do it. Like, okay, why not? I'm gonna do it. And we just kind of went on from there.
Now, did you get your love of makeup from being like part of the dance team in high school? I know that, dance teams usually, it's fully dolled up. And when I saw your pictures for the first time, I'm like, is that a real person? Like, it was really a doll I thought I was looking at. And I was like, yeah, because she's in, various pictures and various places. So is that where you got your love of makeup?
I don't think so. I was on a dance team in high school. That's so funny you said that. Um, but it's so funny because in high school, I was a complete tomboy. Um, and I don't think it was maybe until maybe like senior year of high school that I actually started like tapping into like my femininity. Before then, I was just like sneakerhead. I was like, give me like the baggy boy shirt. I was shopping in like the boys department. It's hilarious. I grew up in church, and it was like an ongoing fight with my mother, like to put some heels on. I think I owned one pair of heels, and they were like literally for church only. Um, so I wasn't really like the girl who was like, my version of makeup back then was like some lip gloss and maybe some bad eyebrow pencil, but like that was it. Um, and to be honest, I don't know what kicked it off really. I know I was in college. Um, and I'm not really sure. I went to college, which was very different than where I grew up. I grew up in Connecticut, and then I went to Norfolk State, which is an HBCU in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, and it was a completely different world than what I had been surrounded by previously. And I met different girls from all over, and I don't know. I think you just you find people in college who your energies just kind of vibe and connect. And I just started exploring different things. I started getting into things that I hadn't really shown an interest in before. And I started exploring and getting out of my comfort zone and just trying new things. I'm like, hey, I'm in a new area. It's like my first taste of like adulthood and being out on my own. And I was on an exploration to find out what the new me is into. And through that journey, I found makeup, and I started exploring, and I had no clue what I was doing with it. I just know that people liked it. And so I was like, I liked it. Girls would come sit and get their makeup done with me in college, and they would come in upset about a boyfriend or upset about something, and they'd talk to me and we'd have like a cool little chat, and then they would leave feeling so much better, and they would like have this new confidence about themselves and be like, oh my god, girl, I look so good, I'm gonna go step out, and just they would just leave like they could go conquer the world. And I just found myself enjoying that feeling that I was a part of it. And it made me feel like even for girls that I really didn't know well, and maybe that was the only time that we would have a conversation, I felt like we were now connected through our makeup transformation together. And I was now a little part of their journey in life, wherever that took them. And I fell in love with that feeling of being able to do that for women.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, did you know any other, entrepreneurs? Because being from New England, there's money there. I got married in New England. I was a almost permanent resident of Westport, Connecticut. Like at 16 years old, I'd come back so much. And so, but you're very far from there. You're more like near the river and Rhode Island. So did you see like successful entrepreneurs, were your parents or grandparents, entrepreneurs, so you knew you could do it? Or what gave you the confidence?
Not at all. I think I knew one lady from church, and she owned a hair salon when I came up. And but that was it. And I say that because I never even thought I could like own my own business, I would say, until moving to Florida. And in Florida, for me, that was where I saw like, wow, this is possible. In Connecticut, everything was about people who worked good jobs. And more times than not, it was healthcare. And it was like, in Connecticut, it's like, get a degree, go to school, and get into a good firm, get into a good hospital, like it prepared you to go get a really good job for someone else and work for them. And I really didn't know any entrepreneur, so it didn't really seem like something that was ever possible. It wasn't even something I had ever like thought about or considered. I was focused on going to school to try to get an education, network, and get a really good job working for someone else. And when I moved to Florida, this was the first time I had seen not just people in general, but Black people, and not old where they're like, I don't want to call people 60 old, but I'm just saying up there in age where they're over the middle half of their life. No, I was seeing like kids like my age, like kids in their 20s and some even younger. And they're like, oh yeah, I own my business. I run this, support me, come shop here. And I'm like, what? Like, you're the owner? You're the 20-year-old owner of this cute little establishment or this restaurant? And it wasn't just like one or two people. It was everywhere. I was meeting people. I was brand new here. I knew nobody. So I was out everywhere, and I'm talking to people just randomly at bars or at events, and people are handing me business cards left and right. Hey, come check us out. Hey, here's a flyer. And I'm like, I was just excited. I was like baffled at first. I'm like, how? Like, what's happening? Like, how is this possible? And then I'm just talking to people, and people are like, yeah, you just gotta XYZ, get your stuff together, get an LLC, you can, do what you want to do. Like, you don't have to sit around and wait. And I'm like, you're right. Like, I don't have to sit around and wait. Like, you're right. But I still had no idea. Okay, like it sounds great, but like how? And it's like nobody's really like pulling you aside. Even I see some of these like seminars now, people are like, learn how to do XYZ. And it's like, They give you like these little tiny gems, but they're super general. I tell people it's like nothing you couldn't have looked up on Google and find out. And everybody will like give you like the step, but nobody tells you like how. Like lay it out for me, like how. Like don't tell me what. They'll tell you like what you need, but nobody tells you like how do you do it. And so I had no idea, but it was the first time that I even had the vision in my mind that like I could and that I wanted to. And so I always say, like people ask, and I say, Florida did that for me. And so I'll always appreciate that from moving here.
Well, they give you the how because, and excuse this, and I'm going to keep it PG, but this is like sex. People can tell you the what, they can tell you their experience, but until you really get into it, you really don't know how, because everybody has a different, everyone has a different feeling. Everyone has a different position, how they take things. There's a different climax. You want to give the whole game, but at the same time, and I'll go back to the sex reference. Nobody wants to talk about when you have a baby and what that happens if your baby gets sick and that feeling. So it's so easy to talk about, this is how you get into the bedroom. This is how you get into entrepreneurship, but I can't guide you through the full feelings, because on the woman's side, I've never pushed one out, but I have 2 kids. If I told you what the feeling of having that baby and it being delivered, you might run. If I told you how the blood might spatter across the room, you might be like, hold on, I don't want to do that. I know you don't get 10 hours of sleep every day as an entrepreneur. And if you tell someone I only get, 4, they'll be like, hey, I don't want that to be.
4 is a good day. 4 is a good, that's a good day. That's the goal. 4.
Yeah, so that's why it sometimes seems like that, because we know, I went to the Harvard of the South, Grambling State University. You went to a great HBCU as well. No colleges, not even Harvard in Boston, can show you step by step. So you really got to get there, maybe find some good mentorship, but then you took it to another level where you got a retail space. And then you said, I want to make clothes. And, when I saw your boutique, I'm like, it looks like she's really designing and making these. That's hard. That's something that most people don't want to do. So talk about that.
I don't design. I just want to put that out there.
Okay, you don't design.
I don't design. Lord, but praises to everybody who does, because that is, and it's funny because when I first started out, I was looking for a specialty boutique. I wanted to carry a individual line that no one else had, and I was trying to partner with a designer to do it. And let's just say that route was just like a complete showdown, which is why I know you're absolutely right. Designing clothes is like, they have a special gift. And when you've got it, you've got it. But there's a lot of people who don't got it. So I went wholesale route. And so my boutique, I do hand pick every item that we carry. And I'm kind of selective because I have a look for the boutique that I'm going for. Or that I like to deliver out, but I don't design it. And it actually started before I brought clothes in. Well, it started with sunglasses. And I had a good response. And it was, sunglasses wasn't on purpose. It wasn't something I sat back and was strategic. I literally just was a big fan of sunglasses myself. So I would always find really cool sunglasses. So the first thing I said to you was I love this vibe. I love shades. I love frames. That's kind of just my own personal tick. So I would always find cool pieces out places and I would wear them. And in the same with necklace pieces, I would find really big, cool, eclectic pieces that were just unique and you wouldn't see everywhere. And people would always stop me and compliment me on either my necklace or my frames. And I was just this is insane. And then in Connecticut, I didn't used to get to wear frames that often. I mean, it wasn't that much sun in the year. Wasn't really many days, but in Florida, I had frames on all the time. It's always hot and sunny here. And it was just a repetitive thing. People kept, hey, where'd you get those frames from? And I was so tired of sending people to other people's stores. oh, I got these from such and such. That I was giving people so much business promoting their frames. And I was like, I should just sell my own frames. And so I started hunting and I started finding like cool frames or things that I thought were cool. And I started posting them up, posting them on Snapchat, putting them up, and people would be like, how much are those? Where can I get those? Da-da-da. And I was like, you know, when you first start and you don't really know anything about anything, I was just like, oh, you can like send it to me on PayPal, and if you're local, or give me your address and I'll send it. And I was like, this is so unprofessional. I was like, I need a website. Like, I need a website, and you just post it on there and people can just purchase. And that's how it first started. And then as a plus size model, which I was in Miss Florida Plus America, one of the main conversations or topics of conversations between women who are plus size is the lack of size diversity in clothes when they're shopping, and the limited amount of places that they're able to shop to find clothes in their size. And usually in any given store, it's a little section somewhere in a corner that has like super like out of touch and outdated clothes. And it's like there's like young and trendy females who want to wear the same things that they see in other sizes. It's just, it doesn't go in their size. And I've personally dealt with the frustration myself. And I was just like, that's what I want to do. I want to have a plus size boutique where I can go find those cool pieces and those cool outfits in our size that's lacking in stores, and pick out stuff that flatters our body type. And being plus size, I know what that is, and that's what I want to do. And I'm going to speak just to that community. And that was the first target for the boutique. In that, I had so many other size women, friends and whatnot, who loved the pieces that they were seeing. And they were like, I hate going to your site because you only carry plus size, and you know, you don't have anything for me. And a part of my mission statement was to create this inclusive and diverse place. And I'm like, well, how is it inclusive and diverse if I'm segregating a whole community of people just because they're not plus size? And I was like, it's kind of like the same thing that plus size people say gets done to them. So I said, you guys are right. I'm going to open up for all sizes, and it's going to go from small through plus sizes, so that this is a place where no matter what your size, height, shape, color, ages, there will be something for you. And so then it kind of expanded into this. And then with the beauty bar, it expanded into carrying it in a brick and mortar area where local people could come inside and actually shop and try things on, and do that as well. So I don't know. I feel like my business expands and grows with my natural journey of life. I don't think I was a person who like sat back and had this grand plan, all planned out and written down, and knew exactly what I wanted and set out to do it all at once. It kind of like, I had one vision for it. I started down that road, and maybe while I'm on that journey for that one thing, something else opened up another door or another opportunity presented. And I just kept finding new and different ways to expand and change. And some of those things I had never even considered, but they made so much sense that I said, you're like, this needs to happen. And I kind of just kept going that way.
Now you've really taken the hashtag, one of my favorite hashtags, monetizing your life, or monetize your life. Everything you're interested in, I can make money. And as a consultant and a publicist, that's just where I believe everyone should be at. What you're doing, you know, every step. And so then I guess the next step would be when you write your book, or make, you know, a documentary on how you did that. Where are you in the steps of, you know, jotting this journey down, even though it's just started, you know, but you've and catch my wording, sprinted away from corporate, you know, and you know, you're going down your own path. So where are you in documenting that so another young woman can say, you know what, I can do it too because I read it or I saw it on her YouTube or, not just this podcast, but her own podcast where she really kind of, guides us on how this entrepreneur life in beauty can be.
So you're gonna have me spill a little tea, but that is already in the works. Um, I am not at a place where I feel like I'm ready to put one out currently, just because um, I want more of the story to be included. But I can say I have already been in talks with um, like a publishing person who we have had these discussions about um, doing a book. The journey is being documented, and that is in the plans to do. Because at this state, I mean that's where I take what I do and turn it into like what I kind of want to leave behind. And at this point, my personal goals now are less in service as far as actual service, me actually servicing people, and more into now education and mentoring. And I've had some great mentors along the way, but I also had long periods of times where there was no mentorship whatsoever, which made me value the ones that I kind of did come upon. But it also made me want to be the type of person that I felt like I was missing um, when I was starting up and trying to get things together and had no clue, but I knew I had something inside of me and I knew I had a great idea and I just didn't know what to do. So that is definitely something that is going to happen.
Don't think that it has to be perfect. What happens a lot of times, especially when you have a great story, is you'll put it out and, maybe Penguin. I always use Penguin. I don't know what it is. I love y'all, Penguin. We'll see it and then say, you know what, we want to republish this and let us put the machine behind it. The one advice I always tell guests is for someone who has a publishing company, because I love to write. I don't do enough of it, but I love to write, and even my kids write books, is to have your own publishing company, no matter what deal you do, because on your second, third book, it will make a difference. And that you now have a deal. It's kind of the Dame Dash effect where you're controlling your narrative. You're not going to have to beg for your rights of your story 15 years down the road, like we see, Dave Chappelle and Kanye West doing right now.
Yeah.
So it's a partnership more than anything because it's your story. I don't care how much money they give you. It always tends to get caught up in the details in music and books, whether it's studio time or, the agent needed this amount of money. So, get that because, you got a movie right after that, and
I
people
like
want.
this. I like this manifestation you're doing for me, and I'm claiming all of it.
Yeah. It just would make too much sense with the way things are going and how, many of the youth are like, okay, I'll listen to an audio book, but some of them are like, well, show me in a movie, show me in a, even if it's a short film, and you got to meet people where they're at because the world is changing. And that's where we're at. And so here you are, you're preparing for this book. You have employees, you have multiple businesses. What is your community give back that you're doing right now or that you plan to do in the future with all the success that you're having and gonna have?
So the one immediate thing I know we're getting ready to do is like a 12 days of Christmas, which I'm actually currently looking for um, a couple different organizations to partner with, in the sense of we would like to do transformations for those in need. Um, they don't all need to be the same, but over a course of 12 days in December, um, one of the things that was done before by one of my employees who does permanent makeup, um, they do like microblading for brows, which for those who don't know it creates false hair strokes in the place of your brows. Some people use them strictly cosmetically if they just are not happy with their brows or want to fill them in darker. But there's a lot of people with like alopecia and cancer who have completely like lost the hair or can't grow it, who have lost their confidence or don't want to be seen out because their face is just strictly missing their brows. And they're able to go in there and literally create eyebrows that look completely natural, that if you didn't know personally, you wouldn't know that they were not their real brows. And it completely, for some people, they're like, oh, whatever, but it like completely changes that person's life for the better. They're able to be proud of what they see and who they are and how they feel. Hence, they're able to go out and do some really great things in the world because they feel more confident and great on the inside. And so we just want to do more of that. I want to give back to those, especially for this year. A lot of people have neglected themselves mentally, spiritually, and physically, just with everything going on. And we might not be able to tap into like where people's mental are, but if we can lift spirits and change their outlook on how they physically look, and hopefully that in return reflects how they feel on the inside, then that's what we want to do. Prior to COVID, it was funny, one of our initiatives moving forward was going to be with the youth, and I wanted to continue something I had started working on with someone a few years back, which was like a passport initiative where we raise funds and donate funds to give kids from the inner cities passports who have never had passports, never had an opportunity to travel, most not even out of their city, let alone out of the state or out of the country. And to take that a step further, after we donated a certain amount of passports, we were looking to then do like some kind of BBDESIRE Glam initiative where we would be able to take them on their first international experience for the first time. And I wanted to make that something that we did annually. And this year was supposed to be the first time we rolled it out and actually like did our first huge donation and then did our first trip. And I had partnered up with someone who was setting up a schedule. And it just so happens that the tour was supposed to be a China tour, December of 2020. And then maybe a month and a half or so later, COVID came skyrocketing out, and that kind of put a halt, a temporary, I'm going to say a temporary halt on those plans. But it is definitely something that I plan to still make happen once, once it's safe and once things have um, found whatever our new normal is going to look like for the future. Um, and I'm also planning to do an academy, a BBDESIRE Glam Academy, which I am working on, and that will be for um, young women to attend. And it'll be what I feel is like an entrepreneur version of a high school or a school program. But it won't be like your typical homeroom math, science, lunch kind of thing. It's going to be more dedicated towards the things I wish I would have known coming out of high school if I knew that I wanted to go down a path of entrepreneurship, or even if there was a display of somebody showing me that it was possible or what it looked like. So things as far as like your credit, things as far as opening a bank account, checking account, investments, learning about LLCs and corporations and limited liability, and learning about partnerships and negotiation and contracts, how to draft those, barter agreements, just things that along the way have made a difference, and things that I had to learn are things I want to teach outside of the academy. Won't be strictly for people who want to be in beauty industry, but it will be focused on that. There will be other partners that I bring in who will teach kind of other specialties that are not in the beauty industry, but the starting will probably focus strictly on those interested in a beauty field um, business for themselves. So those are some immediate things I think that I have in the works.
And I thought you were going to take people to, Cuba or Cancun and show them what that beach life, look like. So she said China. Now, I'm sure you'll get those things going. What is the proper way people can, get on your wait list for that?
Well, we do have what do I want to call it, like an intake form on the website, which is www.bbdesireglam.com. But you can also shoot an email, or if there's like an organization who just has people that they're interested in, to info@bbdesireglam.com.
Okay. No, that's good game right here, Palm Beach County, for you guys to go get glammed up. You can go check out the rates online. You can go see, have your mask as needed until we get out of this craziness, so we don't have to shut down with all the increase. I don't want to give a game overload, but I do want to thank you for coming on the show, giving those tips. And we're gonna take this offline, people. So like, share, subscribe, give it to a young person, old person who you think can benefit. They can jump in entrepreneurship themselves. Peace and blessings.